lecture is about working with the media. Working with the media is an important part of any business strategy. There are many reasons why you may need to communicate with the media, including launching a new product, advertising an event, or sharing good or bad news. In today's lecture, we're going to learn some basic principles about working with the media, including number 1, why use the media, number 2, what makes news, and number 3, the types of media. So firstly, what drives the media? The media are driven by money, advertising, beating their competitors, fair and credible reporting, and newsworthy stories. There are several different forms of media, which fall into 2 categories, electronic and print. Electronic forms of media include the internet, personal email, and broadcast, which can include TV or radio. Print forms of media include the newspaper, magazines or journals, and industry publications. So what makes a good story? The elements which really have an impact on how engaging a story is can be categorized in 3 segments. The first is relevance, the second is emotional content, and the third, reality. Taking a closer look at relevance, this includes factors such as locality, topicality, and personality. Locality refers to the fact that places closer to home are always more interesting. Stories about events and situations in one's home community are more newsworthy than events that take place further away. So if you can make your story relevant to the audience by drawing them in due to them being able to identify with the location, it could get more traction. Topicality refers to a matter which is relevant if it is of current interest. And personality refers to the relevance being due to the story being about a person who is well known or interesting to the audience. Emotional content is the next category and includes things like opportunity, so something which poses an opportunity for somebody. The ST phenomenon. This refers to things which capture people's attention, such as the biggest, the strongest, the richest, etc. I'm sure you can think of many more examples. Threat. If something poses a threat to the audience, they're bound to take notice. So this can be a mechanism for engaging the audience. Outrage. When something is outrageous, it often engages the audience, almost through disbelief. Conflict. Conflict captures people's attention and will mean that the audience often takes sides. Thus, conflict is a common mechanism for engaging interest. So strife is newsworthy. War, public anger, or bitter disagreement over fundamental issues. Bizarreness. When something is bizarre, people engage with it to find out more. Human interest. A human interest story is a feature story that discusses a person or people or a companion animal in an emotional way. It presents people and their problems, concerns, or achievements in a way that brings about interest, sympathy, or motivation in the reader or the viewer. Humour. Humour is one of the most desired human emotions. So being able to integrate humour in your story is a very effective tool for engaging the audience. Reality is the last category and includes things like tangibility, which refers to hooking the audience due to the ability for them to sense that something is tangible, so real or actual rather than imaginary or visionary. Revelation. Revelation is a good hook. It refers to capturing interest by something being revealed or disclosed for the first time. Visualness refers to the ability to tell a story which can produce an image in the mind of the reader or the viewer. We've all heard the saying, a picture tells 1,000 words, and this applies to the media. If you can paint an image for your audience, you will have a far better chance of maintaining their interest. All of these elements of engagement will have their biggest impact under different circumstances. The ability to select the tools which will have the greatest impact will depend on your ability to understand your audience. Knowing your audience, their general age, gender, education level, religion, language, culture, and group memberships, etc. This is the single most important aspect of developing your story. Analysing your audience will help you discover information that you can use to build common ground between you and the members of your audience, and then select the most appropriate tools covered in this lecture. As people with business experience, you all know how important it is to follow a goal of building up a client base and marketing yourself properly. Hopefully you can take away from this lecture that without too much trouble, you might be able to get local, state, or even nationwide media to do your marketing for you. They will if you give them a proper hook. Your hook is that story that makes you stand out from the others. It doesn't have to be outrageous or grandiose, it just has to be interesting. So think about your hook, and then think about how you can use some of the tools we've talked about in the lecture to tell an engaging story. So what's your hook?